Musica Universalis, lit. Universal music, or music of the spheres, is an ancient philosophical concept that regards proportions in the movements of celestial bodies and the sun, moon, and planets as a form of musica, the medieval Latin name for music. This music is not usually thought to be literally audible, but a harmonic and/or mathematical and/or religious concept. The idea continued to appeal to thinkers about music until the end of the Renaissance, influencing scholars of many kinds, including humanists. The music of the spheres incorporates the metaphysical principle that mathematical relationships express qualities or tones of energy which manifest in numbers, visual angles, shapes and sounds and all connected within a pattern of proportion. Pythagoras first identified that the pitch of a musical note is in proportion to the length of the string that produces it, and that intervals between harmonious sound frequencies form simple numerical ratios. In a theory known as the harmony of the spheres, Pythagoras proposed that the sun, moon and planets all emit their own unique hum, orbital resonance, based on their orbital revolution, and that the quality of life on Earth reflects the tenor of celestial sounds which are physically imperceptible to the human ear. Subsequently, Plato described astronomy and music as twin studies of sensual recognition, astronomy for the eyes, music for the ears, and both requiring knowledge of numerical proportions. Later philosophers retained the close association between astronomy, optics, music and astrology, including Ptolemy, who wrote influential texts on all these topics. Al-Kindi, in the 9th century, developed Ptolemy's ideas in De Aspectus, which explores many points of relevance to astrology and the use of planetary aspects. In the 17th century, Johannes Kepler, also influenced by arguments in Ptolemy's Tetrabulus, Optics and Harmonica, compiled his Harmonices Mundi, Harmony of the World, which presented his own analysis of optical perceptions, geometrical shapes, musical consonances and planetary harmonies. According to Kepler, the connection between geometry and sacred geometry, cosmology, astrology, harmonics, and music is through Musica Universalis. Kepler regarded this text as the most important work of his career, and the fifth part, concerning the role of planetary harmony in creation, the crown of it. His preface was that, as an integral part of universal law, mathematical harmony is the key that binds all parts together. One theoretical proposition from his work introduced the minor planetary aspects and harmonics into astrology. Another introduced Kepler's third law of planetary motion into astronomy. Cosmic evolution of humanity was an accepted principle of the ancient wisdom religions. We are children of the universe, and the refined principles of their evolved sciences of cosmology, numerology, geometry and music were held by the priest class. Sacred numbers. The best precession number is 25,920 years, because harmony or the music of the spheres tells us this is how long it takes to complete a full Earth cycle through the 12 night skies of the zodiac. Divide this number by 60, the number that best defines time, also known as the ancient sus, and you arrive at the number of 432. This makes 432 a sacred number, encoded in many myths and sacred structures including the Bible for millenniums. The Mithric mysteries gave the knowledge of the precession of the equinoxes a central place in their rites, which were secret and only available to the initiated. Other ancient mythologies they were hardly the first. The case has been made that the earliest spiritual writings have contained this knowledge in code. Ancient history leaves us only symbols and monuments and artworks, so it is a speculative science. Yet knowledge of the precession of the equinoxes appears to have been a common thread in many of the great civilizations and their most powerful way of communicating with the future, as we struggle to bring this knowledge to the collective conscious. Releasing your mind from the grip of the mechanistic rationalists, this is the most important message yet to enjoy the benefit of wide dispersion going viral on the internet. Both the academic and religious orthodoxy have long repressed this powerful information which transforms consciousness, as we perceive the Earth as a child of the universe. The Earth's axis waddle that causes the precession of the equinoxes is given as 25,920 years, divided by the ancient number called sus, 60, which was used in calculations, results in 432. This number, according to Joseph Campbell, is a mythical archetype capable of appearing in anyone's dreams. A well-conditioned human has a heart which beats once per second, 60 minutes, 3,600 beats per hour and 86,400 beats per day. The diameter of the sun is 864,000 miles, approximately 2x 432. The diameter of the moon is 2,160 miles, approximately 432/2. Since the rate of the precession could be approximated at 50 seconds of arc per year, to precess a full minute of arc takes slightly more than a year, and to precess 1 full degree of 60 minutes takes 72 years. A full cycle of 360 degrees thus requires 360 x 72, or 25,920 years. But the natural revolution of the Earth around both the Sun and its own axis describes a complex pattern of perturbations. It has long been known that one of the periods of oscillation is approximately every 432 days, while another, related to variations in atmospheric pressure, lasts about a year. Yet, only recently atmospheric scientists determined that the great cycles also manifest as harmonic oscillations at higher frequencies, with fluctuations from several months to a cycle of only 2 weeks. The earliest widely acknowledged appearance of the number referencing the precession of the equinoxes is by Bel-Usur-Akka, Berossus, the much-quoted Assyrian priest of Bel in Babylon from 3rd century BC. In his second book, A Greek Synopsis of Babylonian Myth and History, he describes a period of 432,000 years history, up to the flood. The ancient Sumerians also had a festival calendar which was reckoned by 5-day periods or weeks. There are 72 such periods in 360 days. The extra 5 days in a year were considered special, not part of the regular 72-week cycle. In 72 years, the length of time for the Earth to precess 1 degree occurs 72 x 360 equals 25,920 festival weeks, the same as the number of years in the precession of the equinoxes. Also interesting are the lost days. 5 each for 72 years is the magic number of 360, and another full festival year. Both the Egyptians and the Mayans had yearly calendars of 360 days with 5 festival days which can reasonably be considered the first carnivals. Mythologist Joseph Campbell noted that the current estimate of 4.5 billion terrestrial years, phi, for the lifetime of the Earth is very close to the pure unit 4320 found in Hindu mythology and other cosmological systems. 4320 occurs in several variations. By one reckoning, 4,320,000 years is one day of Brahma, that is, one vast cosmic cycle. Ancient calculations extrapolate 4,320 into tens and hundreds of billions of years. 4,320 is also the breakdown of the 4 yugas or cosmic ages in sacred Hindu grammatical chronology. The most sublime but least known of all the Pythagorean speculations was that of sidereal harmonics. It was said that of all men only Pythagoras heard the music of the spheres. Apparently the Chaldeans were the first people to conceive of the heavenly bodies joining in a cosmic chant as they moved in a stately manner across the sky. Job describes a time when the stars of the morning sang together, and in The Merchant of Venice the author of the Shakespearean plays writes, "There's not the smallest orb which thou beholdst but in his motion like an angel sings." So little remains, however, of the Pythagorean system of celestial music that it is only possible to approximate his actual theory. Pythagoras conceived the universe to be an immense monochord, with its single string connected at its upper end to absolute spirit and at its lower end to absolute matter, in other words, a chord stretched between heaven and earth. Counting inward from the circumference of the heavens, Pythagoras, according to some authorities, divided the universe into 9 parts, according to others, into 12 parts. The 12-fold system was as follows. The first division was called the Empyrean, or the sphere of the fixed stars, and was the dwelling place of the immortals. The second to 12th divisions were, in order, the spheres of Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, the Sun, Venus, Mercury, and the Moon, and fire, air, water, and earth. This arrangement of the 7 planets, the Sun and Moon being regarded as planets in the old astronomy, is identical with the candlestick symbolism of the Jews, the Sun in the center, as the main stem with 3 planets on either side of it. The names given by the Pythagoreans to the various notes of the diatonic scale were, according to Octaves, derived from an estimation of the velocity and magnitude of the planetary bodies. Each of these gigantic spheres, as it rushed endlessly through space, was believed to sound a certain tone caused by its continuous displacement of the ethereal diffusion. As these tones were a manifestation of divine order and motion, it must necessarily follow that they partook of the harmony of their own source. The assertion that the planets in their revolutions round the Earth uttered certain sounds differing according to their respective magnitude, celerity and local distance, was commonly made by the Greeks. Thus Saturn, the farthest planet, was said to give the gravest notes, while the Moon, which is the nearest, gave the sharpest. The sounds of the 7 planets, and the sphere of the fixed stars, together with that above us tilde and Jixthon, are the 9 muses, and their joint symphony is called Mnemosyne point. Tilde see the canon. This quotation contains an obscure reference to the 9-fold division of the universe previously mentioned. The Greek initiates also recognized a fundamental relationship between the individual heavens or spheres of the 7 planets, and the 7 sacred vowels. The first heaven uttered the sound of the sacred vowel, alpha, the second heaven, the sacred vowel, epsilon, the third, eta, the fourth, iota, the fifth, omicron, the sixth, upsilon, and the 7th heaven, the sacred vowel O, omega. When these 7 heavens sing together they produce a perfect harmony which ascends as an everlasting praise to the throne of the Creator. See Irenaeus against heresies. Although not so stated, it is probable that the planetary heavens are to be considered as ascending in the Pythagorean order, beginning with the sphere of the Moon, which would be the first heaven. Many early instruments had 7 strings, and it is generally conceded that Pythagoras was the one who added the 8th string to the lyre of Terpenter. The 7 strings were always related both to their correspondences in the human body and to the planets. The names of God were also conceived to be formed from combinations of the 7 planetary harmonies. The Egyptians confined their sacred songs to the 7 primary sounds, forbidding any others to be uttered in their temples. One of their hymns contained the following invocation: the 7 sounding tones praise thee, the great God, the ceaseless working Father of the whole universe. In another the deity describes himself thus: I am the great indestructible lyre of the whole world, attuning the songs of the heavens. See Naumann's History of Music. The Pythagoreans believed that everything which existed had a voice and that all creatures were eternally singing the praise of the Creator. Man fails to hear these divine melodies, because his soul is enmeshed in the illusion of material existence. When he liberates himself from the bondage of the lower world with its sense limitations, the music of the spheres will again be audible, as it was in the Golden Age. Harmony recognizes harmony, and when the human soul regains its true estate it will not only hear the celestial choir but also join with it in an everlasting anthem of praise to that eternal good controlling the infinite number of parts and conditions of being. The Greek mysteries included in their doctrines a magnificent concept of the relationship existing between music and form. The elements of architecture, for example, were considered as comparable to musical modes and notes, or